Apologies for that interruption. So let's start again. Lessons from growing flower for a year. So this was wrote over the course of a year, which was the breakup year, the worst year of my life. Not just because of the breakup, just because several things in my life went wrong. I nearly got fired from my job as a teacher. But I didn't in the end, thank God. But the whole process was incredibly draining, and I'd been living in the same flat for 4 years, and my friend whose flat it was asked me to move out, and all that change and flux meant that 2017 was incredibly challenging and really, really hard for me. But that is what the book is born from all the immensity of that pain and hurt. But as I said, this flat, I was very fortunate. I live in London and I had a huge balcony, and I was able to take over this space and be a keen grower. And as I said, I had been really into self-care, so I'd got a self-care box from a company. Every month they sent me stuff to do with self-care, creativity, looking after yourself. I don't know if you get it in the US, but it's called Blurt. Really recommend it. You know, as women, as feminists, we do need to look after ourselves. Also, I decided to join a gardening club, an online gardening club. So every month they would send me some seeds, and I would grow them, and that was fantastic. So I've read a lot of self-help, and it was interesting for me to be reading this self-help, really focusing on my mental health, doing CBT, and also be growing plants at the same time. Now, sometimes, we don't have weather that's really good for growing lots and lots of different types of flowers, but some stuff does grow really, really well. And then sometimes I'd plant something new and be really keen to see it grow, and then nothing happened with it whatsoever. A bit like people that I dated, and I was thinking, oh, this is going to go really well, and it didn't, and it was like, okay. And then thinking, sometimes I have a tendency to blame myself and think, like, what's wrong with me? Could I have done something better? But then, sometimes I began to realize that with some people, they have issues of their own which contribute to why they can't be in a relationship or aren't ready to commit or whatever. And it's not necessarily to do with that I'm this damaged, unlovable person, but it is difficult sometimes when you're thinking, like, if you really want something and you can't have it and stuff like that. So lessons from growing flowers for a year was a mixture of self-analysis and looking at how plants grow. So I'm going to read from this. You are your own garden. Appreciate all the flowers in it, as each gives you joy. No matter whether the garden is bare or not, don't compare the flowers, because all are beautiful in their own way. You are beautiful in your own way. Gardens and negative thoughts need to be regularly weeded. A little every day should do it. If you want your garden to flourish all year round, you need to regularly plant new things. Do something different. Try something new. All plants need space and light and food to grow. Only you know how much of each you need. Yet each plant will need different soil and different amounts of light and water to flourish. This isn't wrong. They just need different things to be the best flower they can be. Some very different flowers can grow in the same pot, same as lovers and friends. You are in charge of your garden. No one can look after it as well as you can. People may try or attempt to, but ultimately, you know where everything is placed and why. A garden brings joy all year round if well tended to, so keep up your self-care. If the right things have been planted, the garden will grow regardless. Watching it constantly and willing it to grow will not make a plant grow any quicker. You must have patience. It is the same with new relationships, change, and new ventures. It is exciting to see if something new will grow in your garden. However, it will only grow if it's meant to grow and if the conditions are right. Soil, sunlight, etc. So don't beat yourself up if things don't work out. There might be some mold or mite you can't see at the root. Have a greater appreciation of what's already grown and focus on that. Don't ignore the flowers and plants that are budding, or the cyclamens that gave you such joy when they were the only colour in the bare garden. Be grateful for what you have right now, the people that love the work. So I think some of it is like self-explanatory. You know, you can look at a garden of flowers, and you see so many different beautiful flowers. And as humans, that's how we are as well. And there's no point me comparing myself, like if I'm a hyacinth, comparing myself to the rose, because we're completely different plants, and we need very different things. From tending to the different plants and putting them into different soil and having to look after their needs, it, made me think about, all these plants are beautiful. These are all my favorite flowers, but they all need very different things in able to flourish. Gardens, negative thoughts need to be regularly weeded. A little every day should do it. One of my favourite authors, Susan Jeffers, she's the author of Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And she talks about, like, we brush our teeth every day, like, we shower every day. Why don't we feed ourselves with positive thoughts every day? And the CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy approach, also recommends, like, challenging your negative thoughts and processing them in a different way. And I think this is something that needs to be done on a daily basis, because no matter what stage of life you're at, we all have problems and issues. I am volunteering at the moment in Cambodia, and I've got a group of volunteers that are 18 to 25, and some of them have, come from quite privileged backgrounds, but have really struggled with the challenge of being in a developing country. So we all have our own challenges. Yeah, you're in charge of your own garden. Like, anyone that's a gardener, oh, it's starting to rain. Isn't this wonderful? If you're a gardener, you've placed everything where and why, what colour scheme's going to work, and so forth and so on. You can't make things grow quicker in the garden. Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to cut this short again. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you have enjoyed what you've heard so far. I'm really sorry, but we're having a tropical rain thing happening, so I'm going to have to cut this off now. Thank you so much. Follow me on Instagram, Michelle Mangal, and please rate my book on Amazon if you can, and send me any feedback that you want. My email is michelle.mangal@hotmail.co.uk. Thank you. Bye-bye.